Elden Ring is out. And people are already complaining. Let's see, PC port is a mess. There's been some major frame drops in the first area. FromSoft's been deleting negative Steam reviews off the page. Summit hates Elden Ring, probably just because he hates good games.
There's a lot of open, ball-sack, stupid areas on in this game now that are completely useless that you're gonna have to go run around. Dude, I can't, man. I can't.
I don't really have these same complaints though. I mean, yes, the performance issues and the optimization is poor, but I feel like in classic From Software fashion, they'll fix it within the first week. This happens in most all of the Souls games. I'm not really too worried about the future of the game. They usually do well. They're really good with updating it, patching it. I'm not worried at all. Even with the complaints I do have, there isn't really much that I can say that hasn't already been said about optimization, so I just feel it kind of redundant to talk about it. However, there is one flaw I find very early on in Elden Ring. There was a small minority of actually smart, or at the very least intellectual human beings who do agree with me and share the same problem. Most people actually seem to like this issue, or at least they don't really care. There's a large sum who are defending this flaw, and they really shouldn't, at least not in the way they're doing it. So what is this flaw? What is such a big issue so far and early in the game that I have with Elden Ring? The intro to Elden Ring is dog ass. It is by far, in my opinion, the worst intro opening to all the Souls games, at least the ones I've personally played. I believe that for some newcomers, and even Souls fans alike, these two groups trying to get immersed into the story will be taken back, or at the very least, probably be less interested in the story moving forward because of this intro. I want to discuss why I personally dislike it, and why it confuses me so much. Oh my god, Talent, you left the freaking pilgrim guy to murder you! Sorry about that. Look at this stupid morning video of my friend that's over, walks out of the room, and he's playing Dark Souls, right? And he just stands here as a golem, and meanwhile, this dude right here is just whacking on him. Like, dog, are you trying to get my account? Oh my god. I lastly wanted to take the points people might make when defending this intro and kind of debunk them with my own reasoning. Oh, and fun fact, you could still like the intro. We can have different opinions, and I have nothing wrong with people who simply enjoy it. I don't want you to think otherwise. The only problem I really have is the people who may defend it depending on their reasoning. I also know that this intro being bad would have very little impact on the overall enjoyment of the rest of the game, and that most people don't care. It's not a deal breaker. My buddy Calyx didn't even watch the intro when we all played together. He just kind of skipped it, and it's probably for the better. So, moving into this, I want to first identify what makes a good Souls intro. What makes a good intro for these types of games? Two things: excitement and intrigue. The writing of the dialogue has to feel authentic and proper. The tone is serious, dark. It demands your attention with visual and audio flair. In the case of Soul games, it needs to give you enough context to be interested in the world and its characters, but not so much context as to tell you who they are and what the world really is. It should hype you up just as much as it confuses you. So with all those key factors in mind of what makes a good Souls intro, what is so wrong about the opening intro with Elden Ring? Let's just address the elephant in the room. It's a goddamn PowerPoint presentation. Unlike most previous titles, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Sekiro, etc., Elden Ring opted for a slideshow of concept art opposed to animated cutscenes for an intro. For Demon Souls fanboys, like, look, before you get to the keyboard and comment what you need, look, we'll get to Demon Souls later. And let's just start off on a positive. The art is good. The art is really good for the Elden Ring intro, but it's art. It belongs in a concept art book or a digital art book, not the intro. I want to admit the choice of music and the narration is also good for the most part. The writing doesn't really hit the mark, which by extension ruins the narration to an extent. So let's just point out three notable points of interest. Number one.
The mad taint.
It's so bad. Number two. Number three. the loathsome dung eater. It's not objectively bad, but there's multiple moments throughout that really infringe on the excitement and intrigue that turn into unintentionally comedic moments. Like, y'all can't tell me you didn't laugh your ass off when they said that shit, right? But I don't think the intention was laughing. Not at all. Again, it's a Souls intro. So again, with all that in mind too, it's not objectively bad. It still does, for the most part, its job. It tells you what's going on. The writing may not be great, but you're not totally confused. So you want to know what really confuses me the most about this intro? What actually upsets me? It would be one thing if like they were on a budget cut or something, or they didn't have the materials needed at the time to make a proper Souls intro, or one that follows the formula of what we've been seeing throughout since Dark Souls 1. But no, we already have a fully animated intro that isn't being used. That intro is the Elden Ring story trailer on YouTube. It covers the majority of the same topics that the slideshow covers. They actually almost align. They bring up the shattering of the Elden Ring, Godwyn the Golden being the first to perish out of the demigod. I mean, they pretty much say the same thing. The dialogue is arguably much more interesting, and the choice of words is much more mature and proper for the tone and theme the game is setting. Every other aspect of this story trailer, being music, sound design, visual flair, it's either as good, if not way better, when compared to the current intro cinematic we have. It perfectly captures excitement and intrigue far more without any moments that make me laugh or scratch my head. The story trailer just works the same way its predecessors work. Dark Souls 1 and 3. So, why'd they go with the slideshow then? They already have the intro. Why'd they go with the slideshow? Yes, fellow fanboys and virgins, I know this game isn't Dark Souls. I know there's a reason that they went with this artistic choice for their intro. The reason why they decided to tell the story through a slideshow is because in a lot of ways, this intro is a tribute and a callback to their first official Souls game, Demon Souls. Demon Souls, in very much the same way, begins its story with still images and art pieces and vague narration that gives the player a basic rundown of what the world is and what it has to offer. By choosing painted pieces over CG animated cutscenes, they decided to pay respects to where many argue they started this genre. And honestly, fair enough, is what I would say. But that excuse blows green chunks out of my nostrils. So why do I still disagree with this decision? Despite this reasoning, and despite every opinion or subjective viewpoint I've come up with, there's one thing that's certain. My only objective claim is this. From a visual perspective, keyword being visual, from a visual perspective, the story trailer does more and is a more engaging and enticing piece of media in comparison to the opening cinematic. Can you really argue against that? I don't think you can. But there are still people going to make the excuse that it's for Demon Souls. It worked for Demon Souls. It's a tribute to Demon Souls. It's a throwback, and therefore you cannot critique it. With those arguments in mind, my one and only question is this. If it's such a tribute or proper callback to Demon Souls, why is there only a slideshow in the game? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there another intro for this game? An intro that would play right as you booted up the game. And please, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the said intro, dare I say, a CG animated cutscene? What? Ba boom boom ba boom boom ba 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 ba. Who could forget the iconic animated Demon Souls intro that didn't even need dialogue to set you on your path ahead? Through visuals alone, the Demon Souls intro before the title screen tells people watching not only what to expect, but even the mechanics of the game they'll encounter. Co-op phantoms, rolling, getting knocked on your ass by a big ass dude, dragons. It's perfect. 13 years later, and it's still timeless in its levels of excitement, intrigue, and presentation. And if I could just get a show of hands here for a moment, just to further drive the point home, what do you think left more of an impression on the people who actually played Demon Souls? This? Or this? And why don't we just hop over to YouTube over here to see for ourselves what more people cared about. So these specific videos weren't handpicked. You can actually just look these up on your own if you don't trust me. I spent some time scrolling through YouTube here to find videos that had the most views for each respective intro. Oh, and it really didn't take me long to find. The videos with the most views typically show up on the top of the search results, so there wasn't much competition to look further down. So here's the slideshow intro. Let's look at the number of views, the number of likes, and the number of comments on this intro. Now, Millie, that's not too bad. Let's look at the number of likes, views, and comments on the animated intro here. Even further, let's actually use this point again for the remastered. All right. Now, right here, this should be the intro cutscene slideshow one for the Demon Souls remake. Now let's look at the opening for the cinematic. Do I even need to explain myself to you? You know what's even kind of more sad is if you look over here to the slideshow cutscene here, it's not even bad. They actually added some flair to it too. So in that case, it's even better than Elden Ring. And people just don't care about it. So I just got one more thing I wanted to bring up. If the slideshow for Demon Souls was so good, so classic, that they just had to use it, why is it that From Software never went with this direction with their intros moving past Demon Souls? It's almost like they thought to themselves, so yeah, we made an intro with dialogue that sets up the story, but what if we just skip this whole slideshow thing and we took that badass animated intro everyone loves so much, and whether it's Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, or even Bloodborne, which admittedly uses the least amount of visual flair and setup, why did none of these games opt for still images in their opening cinematic? It's almost like they already struck gold with these animated openings. They put 2 and 2 together and they had a formula that worked so well they had no reason to change it. If it isn't broke, why fix it? Okay, sorry, I swear, this is the last thing. One more point, okay? I'm not so mad that they didn't use the story trailer over the intro we already have in Elden Ring. I do personally dislike it. I don't like it at all. But many people enjoy it, and at the end of the day, that's what really matters. You can still enjoy this intro. What I'm upset with is they had animators, they had skill workers put together this insanely beautiful story trailer that I find to be honestly one of their best pieces of work when it comes to intros of their games, and they didn't put it in their game at all. Why is that a big deal? Although the story trailer has accumulated a lot of views since its initial drop, there's still a sizable amount of people playing Elden Ring right now who haven't seen it. Maybe they didn't want to be spoiled, or they wanted to experience the game fresh, but they won't see this beautiful piece of art before starting Elden Ring, and to me, that's a huge shame. I actually saw a good deal of comments when scrolling through the video for the slideshow opening asking, hey, where's the animated intro to these games that we usually have, or did From Software have to take budget cuts, or they weren't able to whip up an animated cinematic like they usually do? There are both people familiar and unfamiliar with the Souls series who have not seen the story trailer, wondering if the game had any real cinematic intro that complemented the familiar formula with the Soulsborne lineup that we've always respected. Why would they waste their time and effort for these people to make a proper intro only to never use it in the game itself? Just for a promo trailer? Is that all the credit you're willing to give it? I feel like there's a solution to this predicament, and it would only go in favor and further complement the arguments made that Elden Ring is trying to pay its respects to Demon Souls. Keep the slideshow intro after starting a new game and making your character. Enough people love it, us haters can just skip it if we really want to, right? But that story trailer, would it be too much to ask if when I boot up Elden Ring, I'm not greeted with just the dev and publishing logos, but Also the story trailer? Say someone buys the game down the road, plans to play it for the first time knowing little to nothing, and they are greeted with a proper Souls intro off the bat, just like Demon Souls did. People who don't care, and those who have seen it enough, can just skip it right away when they boot up the game, the same way they skip through the company logos. It doesn't compromise the already established intro we have. The talent your animators and artists used when making the story trailer won't be put to waste. It sounds like a win-win, don't you think? With all that said, this isn't a huge deal. Yeah, sure, I bitched a lot, but in reality, this is my one and only complaint with Elden Ring. I love the gameplay, and everything I've experienced so far has been a real treat. It's the first Souls game I've been playing blindly, and making mistakes and learning from them without someone babysitting me, it's been great. The intro is by no means a deal breaker, and it's not gonna make me uninstall the game just because old man Jenkins moaned into my ear the lonesome dung eater. Yes, I hate it, but I'm glad other people enjoy this intro. And everything before and after the intro, I really have no complaints. I just wanted to point out the overly fanboyish arguments and debunk why it doesn't virginity shield activate any criticism given to Elden Ring. Every point and constructive criticism is valid and deserves to be heard and given a fair chance. The intro is no exception to that. Remember, even if you disagree with me, and you are entitled to your wrong opinion, you'll never be as stupid as Summit, who willingly bought Elden Ring and criticized it for being an open world game when at day one, it advertised itself as an open world game.
Yo, there's a reason I don't play Breath of the Wild, chat. Everybody loves it, but I fucking hate it because you have to just roam around and do nothing and actively just randomly stumble on something, bro. I'll fucking play Fallout if I want to do that. I just, it's not why I play this game.
Speak your mind, be open to other people's viewpoints. Don't feel like you can't enjoy something just because someone has a different opinion than you. Voices deserve to be heard. Neither side deserves to be silenced on this topic. Speaking of silencing... Ooh... Yikes. Yeah, that's not a good look.